classroom. Today is going to be a bit of a demo on how I would paint the canvas board that comes in most of my kits. So these boards here, it's like a flat hard panel with canvas on the front, and it's perfect for using watercolour pencil, acrylic, fluoro paint. So anything you sort of have at home, you will work on your boards. So this is an original design that I did during COVID, March of 2020. And I have all my designs printed onto the boards. But these black lines won't smudge at all, even if you were to add water to them. So please use whatever you have at home, plus perhaps whatever came in your kit. Now some kits have watercolours in them, some kits have acrylic in them, others have fluoro. So depending on what you have in your kit, I'm going to do a bit of a demonstration on with using all these mediums and paints. So to start with, I have a water brush here, and some of you may have this. You need to fill the barrel up with water, which I've already done. So you open it anti-clockwise, fill the barrel up with a bit of water out of the tap, screw your brush back on. Okay, and we're going to start with watercolour. I'm going to start with this deep maroni pinky colour. I'll paint one of the flowers. Okay, so I'm applying a little bit of pressure to the brush. See, the water will come out, the brush if I apply pressure. So getting that watercolour very wet. And I'm going to work around the edge of this flower here. Using that tip of that brush. Just wash it. Dry it. And then I'm going to pull some of this watercolour over into the middle of the flower. Like such. Get back in and a bit more darks through here. Yeah. And you can see I've left areas of white through here, and I think that's quite nice because that's like the light that is falling on the petals. Okay. Now we might move into this brighter red, same sort of thing, quite wet, and paint this little tulip, darker at the bottom, like that. Wash my brush, dry it, and then pull it up a bit. Paler at the top, dark at the bottom. Pick up some of this dark red. Just put a bit through the base of that tulip. That's going to give it a bit of dimension. Like that. Okay, now I'll move down into this one here. I've still got some of this dark. Again, wash the brush. Pull this up like this. Let it kind of blend and bleed into each other. I think this colour here, which is like a dark, deep dioxine purple, add a bit through the bottom of this tulip. So it's a purple, pinky, maroony colour tulip. And I might add some centres of these little flowers here, whilst I've got purple on my brush. Moving around like so. Wash. And move into the yellow. yellow. And I'm going to put yellow through here. Now, because the purple's still a little bit wet, it might bleed into the yellow, but I'm not too worried about that, because that's kind of creating a bit of depth into the centre of that flower. Now, you may well know that I've got about 15 designs in this range, so the same principle applies to all my designs using any of these paints. Okay, now this, you can see the yellow flower tulip here is fairly flat, so we want to add a bit of depth to it. I'm going to get some dark yellow here, bring it through the bottom and then sort of into the areas behind. Just give it a bit more interest. Going to wash my brush and add some green. Apply a bit of pressure so the water comes out of the barrel through into the brush. A bit of green through here. Usually whilst I've got a bit of colour on my brush, I move it around all the areas that I think would be nice to have green. If you want to make it a bit darker, you can bring in some of this blue. Put that through. Okay. So that's looking nice. What else can I show you? Maybe we'll put some orange into here. Orange and green go very well together because they're complementary colours, which means they're the opposite on the colour wheel, and they will always work beautifully together. Do a little pale orange tulip here. Some of the greens is bleeding into that orange, but I'm not too concerned about that. So we might, this set of watercolours actually has two layers. You can see here. Underneath we've got some browns, which I'm going to apply into the kookaburra. So this would be grey in colour. I'm going to add a bit of warmth in as well. Don't be afraid to really mix your colours up, make it nice and interesting. And you can see on purpose I'm keeping his belly quite white because I want that to be a nice soft, very pale tummy with predominantly white, and his little eye through his beak, like so. Okay, perhaps we might bring some acrylic in now. So the same principle really applies. And I'll probably make my acrylics quite washy as well, because I really like the washy effect. On these boards. So you can see you don't need a lot of acrylic, quite a lot of water, unless you want the overall appearance to be quite solid, which is probably going to make your work a little bit flatter, but that's okay too. So those of you that don't have the water brush in your kit, you can just use any other brush that's come in your kit. Same sort of thing, just using the tip of your brush. So you can see that the acrylics are probably a little bit brighter than the watercolour. But you can certainly water them right down, make them as washy as the watercolours, which I'll show you. And you can get some beautiful washy effects as well. That's the idea. We'll actually do a quick demo with the fluoro paint as well. And probably some of the pink. I tend to use the fluoros, which this does come in the party kit, the fluoros, for highlights. Let's go back to my water brush. So if I'm wanting to highlight, say, a little bit of pink on this flower here, you can see how it just gives it a nice little glow. Now, you may see just here I've gone over the lines, but for me, I never worry about that. That's all part of the art. So, fluoro orange. I'm a big fan of fluoro colour and fluoro paint. I think it adds a lot of life. So, doesn't matter if the watercolour is still a bit wet. It's going to give you some pretty cool effects. Yeah, no reason why you can't add the pink, the orange together. I know this leaf is supposed to probably be green, but there's no reason why it can't be pink. Before I sign off, I do just want to show you the branch. Now I tend to run my dark brown through the edge of my branches, so at the top and down the bottom. Like so. This little branch here. Then get rid of all the colour off my brush. Just dry it. And again, a bit like I showed you with the flowers, just bring some clear water through it, because then the branch won't be too flat. You have a bit of interest, a bit of darks, a bit of lights. And I do want to bring in like this orangey brown too. If you're using acrylic, you could add a little bit of red to your brown, and that will create the different browns. Don't forget to give your burrow an eye. Come back and add detail through his face, around. So there we go. Now I will continue on working on this and then put up a final photo of the finished piece, but I will probably choose to do this background in a blue as well, so that would be the final thing I would do. So I'd work on all my elements, wash my brush, wash my water, and then bring in a very soft to mid blue for the sky. So I hope you enjoy painting my canvas boards, and visit them online and have a look at the range, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.